And let's go ahead and dive into one of my favorite portions of the event. So what I want to do here for a couple of minutes is essentially I want to go from being the person presenting and being the person kind of training to essentially kind of being the learner for the next, 35, 45 minutes of this event. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out some of our top earning affiliates, some of our most successful students, and people who you guys have gone ahead and heard from over the course of the last day or so. And I want to pick their brains on the power of, general internet marketing, specifically the power of mentorship, how mentorship has helped them get to the next level, and kind of show you guys some of the possibilities and some of the opportunities when you make a decision to invest in yourself, when you make a decision to play all out, when you make a decision to truly go after your goals, reach up to your full potential and play all out, and bring you some of the secrets from the top earning super affiliates. Does that sound good? Let me know in the chat box if that sounds good. I only want to bring it if you guys absolutely want to go ahead and hear the goods from our speakers. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you guys for all the interaction. And with that said, the first panelist needs no introduction because he just gave himself the best introduction. He just had an amazing piece of content that blew everybody's socks off. He's one of my favorite people in the community. He gives back so much value to the community. Literally one of those individuals who just shows up each and every single day, each and every single week, and each and every single month like clockwork from a place of integrity, authenticity, and realness for you in the community. And other than that, he also does very well in his business as well. And that is the one and only Jason Ligo. Thank you for being here, man. I appreciate you immensely. And this is going to be awesome. Thank you, my friend. Next, I want to go ahead and bring out an absolute beast of an entrepreneur. She was the favorite for a lot of people when it comes to the favorite speaker from yesterday, at least in a lot of our various breakout rooms. She lives in the beautiful Costa Rica. She's an absolute expert when it comes to attraction marketing and one of the best, most compelling storytellers and really kind of story selling experts out there on the internet. She shared once again all of her secrets when it comes to storytelling, story selling, and how to use story in order to create an authentic brand that converts. And that is the one and only Muriel Dikema. Muriel, I hope I pronounced your last name right. I probably didn't, but thank you so much for being here. Let me see if I can go ahead and find you. Muriel, are you with us? And we'll go ahead and bring you out. Or it looks like you hopped on separate from Dirk, which is fine. We'll bring Muriel out in just a second, but she's here to share the goods as well. And last but certainly not least, we have the other half of Muriel. And we learned from him earlier today when it comes to storytelling and also specifically in the context of video ads and Facebook ads, how you can use the combination of telling a powerful story, a compelling story to create know, like, and trust and bond and relatability with the audience while simultaneously doing it in the form of an ad, doing it in the form of direct response message that compels someone to take an action step to essentially come through a sales process and ultimately buy. And obviously both of these guys' results show that there's teachings absolutely do work. They recently had a $20,000 day, obviously results not typical, but they had a $20,000 day with us here at SAN. And I want to go ahead and bring out Dirk as well. Dirk, are you there, my friend? Trying to find you guys. This whole virtual panel is a little bit different. Usually we're up on stage and we got everyone in one place, but I see Jason. Dirk, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm actually right next to you on my screen.
Okay, now you're right next to me on my screen. And Muriel, are you there as well?
I'm here next to Dirk and you, and I'm in another room. Otherwise, we don't fit on one screen, so we just split up.
Perfect. All right, I got all of you guys here now. And we were going to have Keisha as well. Everyone absolutely loves Keisha. Just as a family, please go ahead and send Keisha some love when you guys have a second. Post in the Profit Nitro group and send Keisha some love, send Keisha some prayers. She unfortunately had a death in the family, and literally she's the most committed and one of the most badass internet entrepreneurs that I know. And she would literally show up each and every single day for all of you guys to provide maximum value. This is just one of those kind of weird situations with the timing of all of it. And be sure to send Keisha some love. So with that said, we have an awesome panel here with Jason, Dirk, and Muriel. And let's go ahead and dive in. So kind of what we're going to do here is I'm just going to kind of ask each of these individuals a question. I'll ask one question and we'll go from one individual to the other. And just kind of essentially, I want to pick your brains on the power of mentorship, how mentorship has helped you in your business, and how it's kind of helped you to break through and get to the next level in some of the tough times that maybe everyone doesn't see, because we only kind of tend to see the highlight reels, right? So that's kind of my intention here. But before we go ahead and dive into that, I want to just take a minute and literally, obviously, we've all spoken at this point already, but for anyone who maybe just hopped on this call, maybe take a minute and we can start with you, Muriel, and let's go around and just kind of share a minute of your story and then share kind of one of your biggest results that you're most proud of accomplishing, either with us or without us, either which way, but a little bit of your story and your biggest result that you're most proud of. And Muriel, I'll start with you.
Thank you, Misha. Hi, everyone. Hi, other half of the panel. So to answer your question, a bit of my story in a nutshell. So as social worker, highly educated, I worked for many, many years with love and passion with clients from all walks of life. That is what I was told to do. I loved it. I raised a family. I married Dirk. We have 2 kids and life was just comfortable until I hit a breaking point. Thanks to Dirk. That's basically what I can say now, because the rest you will hear why I say thanks. He chose to start a restaurant. So we were a working couple. He in his restaurants, me as a social worker. We were raising kids, but he hit a major bankruptcy that got us in $300,000 debt. So there we were, a young family with children, working our butts off the way that everyone was doing that around us, living the life that was shown us this is the right way. And actually, we found ourselves in a situation, I found myself in a situation that I discovered that I didn't have hours left to work more in order to earn more to solve my financial situation. $300,000 debt was not paid off by working more hours. I was already working double shifts in the, as a social worker. So that is the point where Dirk actually decided for me that it was time for a change and to invest in education that could bring us another way of paying off debt and basically build a business online and make money online. That was our goal, make money online. So there we go. There we went online, had no clue what we were doing. But a long story short, we cracked the code. Right? We, from mentor, we had several mentors over the years. Basically, long story short, I'm sitting here now sharing my story with you. I walked away from my job in 2015. Dirk replaced his restaurants, repaid off the debt in 2016. And in 2018, we moved to Costa Rica with our online business. Making very good living online, way more than we made by working hard in that working hard business model. And now I'm here invited by Misha, the amazing you, Misha, who were part of our journey in our move to Costa Rica. You were substantial and still are a substantial part of our income, because as digital marketers, we not just weren't students of Super Affiliate Network, but also are affiliates of this company. So we are students and affiliates, and now also teaching you guys. If this isn't the best example about, and this is my biggest win. You can have several ways to celebrate wins in money and in accomplishments, in what your heart is filled of, right? So let me start on the biggest accomplishment financially, because that's the measurement we all like to, we all know, right? And then I will tell you what my biggest passion win is. So yeah, we had a $20,000 day within Super Affiliate Network, thanks to their program, thanks to their commission system, thanks to their coaches, thanks to their whole system and education. I was taught how to do that. And my biggest heart-based accomplishment is that I do what I always did, that was helping people, but in a different business model, supported by a company such as Sun. But I don't just make income with some, but with other things, I learned how to set up my own stuff. So now I'm helping people all over the world from the comfort of my home, and I make as much as I want. And that is, how I can reach people with communicating online without being on the phone all day and still being able to help them and provide for my family this way. That's a win-win. That's the best that ever happened to me.
Awesome.
So I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much. And everyone, congratulate Muriel on her $20,000 day. Congratulate Dirk as well. They work as a team. That's absolutely awesome. And I think whenever I see Dirk and Muriel, it's like, God, these guys have the idea kind of dialed in. They got it more dialed in than me. I need to go live like Dirk and Muriel. And maybe that's, me in a few years, but I absolutely love it. You guys truly do live the laptop lifestyle, and I love it. So with that said, I'll go ahead and transition over to Jason. And Jason, just take a minute here and maybe share a tiny bit about you. I know we just heard from you, but also kind of your biggest result and what you're most proud of accomplishing in your internet marketing career.
Yeah, sure. So if you missed the long, drawn out, really boring session I just did, I'll just give you the 10-second version, which is I'm a serial entrepreneur. What's that?
They weren't engaged.
Yeah, no, not at all. I just lack of engagement. Ring me, somebody, please. Oh man. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been selling stuff since before selling was cool. Right, I was 6 years old, and tried everything and failed everything, and that's why I'm able to say that I've been around forever and tried everything and done everything. So basically that's me in a nutshell, right? But I got into affiliate marketing, internet marketing, started doing okay, and then found awesome mentorship communities like this, got plugged in, and things literally have just kind of taken off. I was already having success, like I said, but I really have hockey sticked it and seen it transform into many big things over the last 2 to 3 years, especially with regards to me becoming a leader. I've never shied away from it, but I've never asked for it. I never just be like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. I obviously wanted to help people, but being a part of the community has really just developed into one of those things where going on over a year now, I've been doing every week I'm live on the Sand Cry for Freedom call, giving massive marketing value, life hacks, plenty of laughs, dad jokes, and everything we can for our community. So that's probably one of my biggest accomplishments. I could talk about certainly, the money has been great. I was able to leave a 6-figure commercial banking career, support 5 kids, and buying another house here very shortly in our lovely house, lovely second home that we call it down in South Florida. And we're doing okay with regards to that trial. I lived the laptop lifestyle a lot. I showed you some pictures there when I was in Costa Rica. Unfortunately, I did not have a chance to go knock on Dirk and Muriel's door, but next time we'll take, and you guys already saw me golf carting with Misha, right? I mean, that's probably my biggest accomplishment. That's my biggest flex, is golf carting around Puerto Rico with Misha, and neither of us spoke Spanish. It was great. Let me tell you, that's real living right there, right?
Good time.
That's it, man.
Awesome. Well, hey, man, thank you. Appreciate all the value that you provide. And guys, isn't it cool to be able to have a goal to step away from a high-paying job? I mean, let me know in the comments box, do you guys resonate with that at all? Even if you're making a lot of money, even if you're making 6 figures like Jason, ultimately it's the absolute dream to be able to step away from your job, live life completely and totally on your terms. And Jason, you would have done it with or without us. You're an absolute all-star and a leader, but I'm glad that we were kind of here to help you in the way that we have. And it's awesome to see you grow. So with that said, thank you, my friend. And last, but certainly not least, I'll go ahead and transition over to Dirk. And we heard Muriel's version of the story, and I'm interested to hear your version of the story from your perspective. Let's hear the truth now, Dirk. Come on now, let's hear it.
Well, the truth is well, actually, you always have to be very careful what you're asking for, because I just remembered recently that I always said to my friends, oh, when I grow up, I'll start my own business. I will be independent, blah, blah, blah. And somehow I ended up with my own restaurant. Well, that is the wrong choice. But we just came back from 2 years of traveling, and I wanted to be free, and I wanted to show my kids the world and travel again. So, hey, let's start a restaurant. That is a stupid mistake, but hey, I didn't know what I didn't know back then. So I started doing that. That kept on going for about 12 years in total. After 12 years, I was able to sell my last restaurant. Some year before, 2 years before I hit a bankruptcy, like Muriel said. And then when you talk about mentorship, well, that is it. We started, we got invited, we got learned in the wrong way, but we didn't know that back then. Like, hotel meetings and stuff like that. And like, not for me, I had restaurants, but Muriel is the communicator with us. I'm doing my, I like to do my thing. And what happened then about mentorship is that we continued to just pretend if we knew what we were doing until a year later. It's like, okay, we do this or we do not do this. And we decided to go all the way for it, and we just did it. And I swiped my credit card, if I can say that, and that. We need education, we need mentorship, we need this. And Muriel would say, "What? Are you crazy? We have $300,000 debt. We cannot do this." And I said, "What's done?" And she didn't speak to me for at least 2 weeks, and there we were. But we became a product of the product, and we continued. But it didn't stop. Because then we hit this road, and that was the most important. That for me was like, this is the importance of mentorship, is that we did not know how to create traffic, to share our story. How do you get your story? Everyone said, "Yeah, share your story." But how do you do this? And that's how we attracted different mentors that taught us different strategies. And I can say, "Oh, we made this much money," but that was for me the biggest takeaway, that it is like instantly you can get your story in front of thousands of people that you want. Knowing those strategies will enable us to even if everything disappears, if we lose everything and everything goes away, you can turn on your laptop, you create that funnel, you create that traffic, and you tweak until your story is out there. There's always people out there that will resonate for you. So I think that is the biggest takeaway, the biggest accomplishment, and the most important direct results of good mentorship. That is
awesome.
It. Yeah.
I love it. And Dirk mentioned something. I don't know if you guys caught it or not. I caught it, but Dirk said something that I know I've kind of experienced. And he said that I didn't know what I didn't know. Right. And so many of us, we might be on here thinking that we know what the problem is, or thinking that this is the thing that I need to focus on, or thinking that, this is my weak spot, etc. And usually the biggest breakthroughs come from the areas where you don't even know that there's an actual problem that exists, right? And so Dirk didn't even know he was going into the wrong industry that was essentially going to bring him down a path that he didn't want to go down, because he didn't know what he didn't know about that type of business model. And sometimes that's what a mentor can kind of help to bring clarity with. And for everyone on here, I've never been $300,000 in debt, knock on wood, obviously. And I think a lot of people on here haven't been either. And so looking at it through, Dirk and Muriel's lens, these guys have literally been in a more tough situation than just about everyone on here, and you guys have come through it. And so it's awesome to see. And you kind of brought up the topic of mentorship and how it kind of helped you specifically. So I'll ping it back, and I'll start with Jason. So we're going in random order here, but all of you, myself included, we've obviously invested in mentorship. I do every single year. I have masterminds I'm a part of. I used to go to Austin, Texas 3 times a year. Now we do it virtually, style of setting, just kind of like this. But we all have our various programs that we've invested in. And I think lots of people kind of know and understand, the 6-figure earners have mentors, the 7-figure earners have mentors, but they don't really understand the process through which you get there and kind of how you get in the habit of tapping into the power of mentorship. So Jason, maybe if you could just walk people through, the first time you got started with mentorship, the first time you made the leap and dove in with both feet and made the decision, like Dirk talked about, to pull out the credit card and swipe it. What did that feel like? Were you nervous? Were you anxious? Were you, completely and totally sold? And were you all in on this thing? Or were you kind of skeptical and you didn't know it was going to happen, but you did it anyway? Kind of what did that whole feeling look like?
Yeah. So for me, it's kind of interesting. A lot of people, I guess you could say, of course, there's a little bit of apprehension, but in my case, and I stand by this every time I get asked a similar question, is that for me, I couldn't pull my credit card out fast enough. And the reason for that is because I had failed so many times. So clearly I knew that I had the sense and at least the self-awareness and honesty with myself to know that clearly something wasn't working. And yes, there are people who can take information, process it, make it happen. But I think that they're fewer and far between. And especially if you're not one of the sharpest tools in the shed like me. I'm not one of those guys. I just never really excelled in school in that regard. However, I've always been the guy where if you showed me how to do it side by side, you do it, you show me how to do it, I copy what you do. And if I do it like you taught me and like you showed me, then there's no reason to expect that I can't receive and put out a similar result. And it really was just that simple to me. And so if for me, if the barrier was I have to pay a little bit to make sure that I have that hand holding, or I hate to call it that because as a big burly guy, it's like I don't want to have my hand held, you know what I mean? But that whole side-by-side training, I mean, I call that expanded learning. Why would you, did you recently watch my YouTube channel? Because I did a video on this. Right? And basically, it just goes together, right? But yeah, I call it mentorship expanded learning, because there's like the home learning, do it yourself. You know, I buy a home study course or whatever, and I can't tell you, I've spent thousands in mentorship, but I probably spent tens and hundreds of thousands in do it yourself home study courses. I've spent a ton of that, and that just doesn't work the way that mentorship does. It's definitely the express lane, the accelerated path. So for me, yes, I was a little bit apprehensive because I had, it's still money leaving your card, but again, it's an investment. And like I talked about earlier, would you spend $100 knowing that you can make 1,000? Would you spend $3 knowing that you can make 30? It just, by that time, I had lost enough time in my life and money to know that clearly I had to shape it up this way. So for me, I couldn't pull it out. It's been exciting, and I've never looked back. And like you, I spent a lot of money, and time into my mentorship. It's one of those. It's not an expense. It's an investment.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I love it. And I couldn't say it better. The one thing I'll kind of bring up and reiterate is Jason mentioned that he took so long trying to do it himself that he lost enough time and money to where he finally got to a point where he needed to invest in mentorship. Right. And I think a lot of us, myself included, when I first got started, we go down this journey and we say, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need the mentorship. I don't need the hands-on help. I'm going to figure this thing out because, we're hard-headed dudes, at least me and Jason. And we bang our head up against the wall forever trying to figure it out. And the truth is we lose time that we can never get back, and we lose money that we can get back, but it would have been, a lot more fun to not lose it along the way. Where if you can just get yourself to accept that the best athletes in the world, the best, anything in the world have coaches and have mentors for a reason, it really allows you to kind of bypass a lot of that pain that me and you have felt over the years when we haven't done that. So love your answer, man. Thank you. And Dirk, I mean, honestly, man, I can't even imagine. I've made the decision to invest in mentorship when I was $10,000 in debt, and that freaked me out. I've never made the decision to invest in mentorship when I was $300,000 in debt, and knock on wood, I never will have to. But I'd really like to hear how that felt through your perspective and how that whole experience was and what you were thinking when you did that, other than, I hope Muriel doesn't kill me, because I'm sure that was going through your head a little bit. But what did that whole kind of thought process look like, my friend? Whoops, I think you're there.
I was muted. So I looking back, $300,000 debt, and not ever made that much before. It kind of numbed you out. It was unreal. It was just unreal. And I managed to keep everything going, so I did not really have to file for bankruptcy. I had one restaurant left, but it would take me about 15 years to and probably now it's going on maybe even longer. I don't know. So to be honest, it kind of numbed me out in a way. It was so unreal.
Yeah. So
for me, I knew that I needed to learn new things, and there was no way I was going to figure out them. So we did it in the year previous. So I just swiped it. It didn't. There was nothing in me. It's like, and I didn't care, to be honest, what Muriel thought about it. I just know I need to take care of my family. I had to go that way, and who cares? 300 or 305 or 310.
Yeah.
Didn't make any difference for me anymore. So, but it made so much sense to take that step, because I had a way to get out of that. But that was in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And that was something I did not want. And I lost all passion. I lost all imagination. I just did not want to do that. I saved it because I told the bank I would work harder in my restaurant. And I did the obvious. I totally backed out of my restaurant, hired more staff, didn't earn a thing. But I was in a in a basement where the mushrooms grew out of the wall between the boxes of wine. I was trying to figure things out. And so making that investment was a no-brainer because I saw the proof. Other people made results. They make a lot of money. And I thought, if they can do it, there must be a way that I can figure this out. And so it was a no-brainer. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, look, I've talked about it a couple of times this weekend, but it's the difference in mindsets of Dirk and Muriel can do it, but I don't think I can do it. And Dirk and Muriel can do it, so I can definitely do it, right? Use these guys as proof that if they can do it, you absolutely can too. And the fact that you had that mindset literally when you were $300,000 in debt, that would kind of cripple so many people and get so many people to, instead of coming from a place of abundance, investing in themselves and making the decision they need to make, it would keep them from doing that. So that is absolutely awesome. And let us know, guys, in the chat box, are you guys getting value out of this? Let me know with a quick yes. I want the chat box to absolutely blow up. But let me know if you guys are getting value, so much value. Yes, 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 so much value. Yes, tons of value. Awesome. And thank you, guys. Cool. So Muriel, obviously you wanted to kill Dirk when he did it way back when, but I know you guys are continually investing in mentorship, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. You guys have invested over and over and over again. And maybe take us through one of the times you have invested in mentorship, Muriel, and you've been on board with it, and it's been the decision that you wanted to make, but how it kind of felt and what you would kind of tell the audience about that decision.
I was just telling my son, can you please turn the volume down? This is the sound of freedom fun, right? Looking back at the previous 2 years, we invested yearly. We invested twice in a mentor and a coach to learn practical new skills that we needed in a specific area in our business. Apparently, when you just get started, the learning curve is different and broader and bigger than when you already have an established business, but we had some gaps there. So looking back at where we were, we faced some flat lines in our business, according to traffic generation, according to platforms that changed, and the knowledge that we had was not sufficient enough. That's just a very practical example of what may happen in the online business space. Now, for example, Sun is a place that updates every time everything, right? But our specific strategy that we applied, we wanted to specialize training. So the difference between not knowing how and just having someone, literally someone you pay, so that you commit to, that you can follow, that you can learn and do, and finally also teach. Funny enough, I share that because that's our model. We invest money into new skills, then we apply it and benefit from it in our business. So then the flat line is going up. You open up new skills that you can apply now, so that money, so that let's suppose it was $1,000, right, that you invest, or let's say $10,000. It doesn't really, it's not about the exact number, but the fact that after putting that in, that money becomes worth like an unlimited X amount of money, because now you apply the skills and the sky is the limit with that. So it's like you attract more people to it, coming to your funnel, to your business. The world of change was super different. Like, wow, from not knowing, oh, we have no traffic generation, so the business is dead. Screw us, we have to invest. And now looking back at everything we invested, at least 100x times got back to us. Yeah. That's the sound of that's just what investment does. And even eight years ago, the very first investment that Dirk did with that credit card from money that we didn't own, right? That money that was below zero, that was on a card, became the money we invested that we didn't have. It became worth that. It became plus on the account sometime later. And with that money, we could literally buy new mentorship. And that's just the steps that we took. Every time we learn new things, then you need to learn new things. You invest back again, and you keep moving. And now we also teach what we have learned. We just also decided to be educators. Not that everyone should make their own products and digital courses, but that's just what we love. And that's just an X factor of once you have invested in something and you own it, now you can also teach it. So isn't that a win-win-win? That's how I experienced it.
Awesome. I love it. And I mean, one of the things that you mentioned specific to our industry is one of the things we got to understand, guys, is things are changing so fast all the time. I don't even know if you guys are aware of everything that's changed just in the last couple of months, but I know you guys had to adjust your traffic strategy because of something that changed the marketplace in the last couple of months. Everyone kind of went through the pain of the iOS updates and trying to figure out the iOS updates. And that whole process is so much easier when you have someone on speed dial, or you say, hey man, I know you have, tens of thousands you're spending on ads. What are you doing to make this work? And you got 3 of those people and you can tap into that knowledge. It's a so much kind of more efficient approach to getting to the next level and then staying there. Because the truth is, if you have a mindset of, I'm going to do this thing until I reach this result, and then I'm just going to kind of cruise, you're going to get there, but then you're going to kind of backslide and go the wrong direction. And so I'm glad you brought that up, and awesome story. I love it. And one of the things, so kind of bringing it back to Jason here, one of the things that I think is kind of almost deceptive, and that's kind of like a negative word, right? And I think it is kind of a little bit deceptive about our industry, though. Sometimes we all are really good at showing our highlight reels, right? And myself included, I'm guilty of it. I try to be real and I try to tell people my story and my big mess ups too. And I've had awesome years, I've had bad years, and everything in between. But the truth of the matter is that it isn't necessarily all sunshine and rainbows, right? Sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's really fun. And sometimes it's like, crap, I want to throw my computer out the window. About 8 months ago, I actually did put a fist through a computer when it just got to boiling point at a moment in time. So it's not always sunshine and rainbows, right? And Jason, I kind of want you to bring us to a moment in time where you were really frustrated. You were really kind of at that boiling point. You were totally over it. And share with us what you did then and how a mentor might have helped you to recalibrate, get a different perspective, get a different kind of lens to look at the problem through. So ultimately you could get to the next level in your business.
Oh man, where do I start? I could probably pull like 6 or 7 different memories, but there's a ton of them I can think of, but because there's been plenty of times when I've been frustrated. I can think of like a couple examples and I'll hone in on one, but everything from, even content and sales and just, kind of everything in between, like, because you're taught to do certain things, right? And you know that if you, at least from the perspective of, okay, I was taught this, I went through the material, and so now I'm going to implement it. And you feel like you're doing everything according to the T. But even then, there are nuance and details that only a mentor can tell you, right? I mean, one of the first things I ever learned when I wanted to start my business was, okay, you have to publish and you got to put content in the marketplace. And so you pick your platform, which I did. I picked YouTube and started doing videos and stuff. And I was stuck at 20 subscribers for like a year. I remember telling Keisha the story, like, oh, I'm being consistent. I'm showing up as much as I can here. And then, clearly if I had a mentor, it would have shown me a lot of these little tips and tricks that I know now, because that definitely would have escalated. But I can think of one where I was really wanting to throw my MacBook out, it wasn't a MacBook at that time. It was a terrible other slow computer that took 10 minutes to boot up only to shut down again. But this, like the whole thing of the Facebook ad thing, you know what I mean? Like I remember just going through a training and back in those days, Facebook was easier anyway, but it was still Facebook and I was still in the make money online opportunity space. And it was just like, you pick your traffic strategy and Facebook's where you want to be at. Because I heard another big time influencer said, yeah, where every dollar we're spending right now is on Facebook and we're getting this much return. So I'm thinking, okay, it's just that simple. And I put an ad up and man, not only did I get, disapproved, but I got disliked. I felt like I had people showing up at my door. Like it was really intense. And I was after already failing many different times. But, you hear that this is all you need to succeed. At least that's the way that we interpret it as people who want to make it happen and who've tried everything. So this is the magic pill. And there's not a magic pill. There are just mentors that help you along the way. So, man, that was definitely a crazy experience because I thought I finally cracked the code. If I could just get on Facebook, it was like pulling teeth. You can get an ad account up. I put an ad out there, and it just kept getting trashed and ultimately shut down. And thankfully, we're well past that now, working with one of my favorite mentors in the world, which is you. But my goodness, that was clearly something that, let's just say, it tested my Christianity. Okay, I don't cuss, but man, I came close.
Anything Facebook related will test any belief system you might have. I can tell you from personal experience that ad account is like the devil sometimes. But I love it. And I love that we've kind of been able to get you on track with that and got to a point where you're break even on the front end with your funnel, which is awesome. And that's what we worked on when you came down to Puerto Rico. It was fun and cool, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. And with that said, Dirk, I mean, what's one of those moments for you? I know I've had plenty of them, but what's one of those moments for you where you've been to the point, maybe where you were kind of to the point with your restaurant where you're like, this internet marketing thing's driving me nuts today. We all get to those points. And how did a mentor kind of help you to overcome that little moment?
Well, the beginning started in the restaurant. I think I threw some plates through the garden, definitely to figure things out. But later, even when we are already living here in Costa Rica, so it might be, I think, 2019, Instagram. It started all with Instagram. Instagram totally changed. We made we focused on Instagram and it was all automated. I think I ran 135 Instagram accounts, all automated. It was an awesome lead generation. I just had to post one picture a day and then it was spread out automatically over all these accounts. And so that was awesome. And then it just started like I lost 120 accounts overnight. And then I started building it up and boom, was smashed again. And it's just like super frustrating. I had also clients that use that thing. That was like at one point I think I closed my laptop. I just wanted to smash it on the thing because it was so frustrating. Like you think you figured it out and they changed something.
Yep.
And yeah, that's when I got on a point. Okay, this. I mean, I found a way to sort of keeping doing it, but it was just so much work to do that. It was not. It was automated, one picture, super easy. It was now like almost a full-time job. And I said to Maria, I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't. I hate this stuff. And that's why we decided to find a new mentor and invested in a new strategies and just, yeah, we just went for it. And even that, maybe a while later, it crashed and changed and didn't work the way we expected. And also looking in the future, okay, we mastered this, but hey, if the same thing happens, updates, algorithms, and things, we need to have a backup and not as the last time we just focusing one thing and it is gone, and then you're like, oh, everything just stopped.
Yep. I've been there myself. I absolutely know the feeling. Whoops, sorry. I think you broke up there for a second, but I was just saying I completely and totally understand. We've all had those moments where you wake up and it's, holy crap, an update happened. I didn't even realize it was going to happen. And you go from having a really profitable business to no business at all overnight if you don't have, 1, 2, 3, 4 different streams of traffic and lead flow coming in. And that's one of the things that my original mentor that's one of those blind spots. So I think, Dirk, you said earlier that I didn't know what I didn't know. When I was first getting started, I got to a point where I was really good with one traffic source. And I thought I just kind of had it figured out, right? I was like, oh, I'm good to go. And my mentor got on a call with me and was like, so what happens when you can't do that thing that you're doing right now? And I was like, wait, what do you mean? I can always do this thing that I'm doing now. And he brought me through his story of the Google 2008 slap that he kind of went through and how he essentially lost his business overnight because he had all of his eggs in one basket. And it's a lesson I've remembered forever. And that's why we have, YouTube, Facebook, Google, some CPA stuff, direct mail stuff. We have all of it because I'm terrified of having stuff, stop and not having a backup plan. And that's just an example of one problem. I mean, who here kind of, thought that much of, I need to be so diversified. That's not how you think when you're first getting started. And that's kind of how a mentor can kind of take away some of those blind spots. So I'm glad you brought that up for sure. And let me know, guys, in the chat. Once again, I want to keep you guys super engaged. Give me a hashtag value if you guys are getting value out of this conversation. Give us a hashtag value, kind of a virtual fireside chat here. Awesome. Value, tons of value. Awesome. And with that said, Muriel, I know once again, just like all of us, you have those moments where it's the tipping point and you question things. And I know in your own journey, mentors have helped you get through that. And what has kind of been one of those moments for you personally?
Oh my goodness. Just as Jason, we have so many moments. We have seen so many setbacks from getting from zero to success. And while having success, like those flatliners, those scary flatliner that okay, we're talking about this, right? Okay, so we did many walks, like brainstorm walks, to not be in panic. This is what we always do. If we are in such a moment, like, shoot, this is trouble. Okay, we don't panic. We just stay calm and we go somewhere where we can, or outside. We did it back in the Netherlands when our business was just growing and we were still living kind of like the nightmare and getting there online. And we did it here in Costa Rica when Instagram crashed. So take these two examples. What we always done was just, okay, talk, brainstorm. What do we have? What do we need? Where are we? Where do we want to be? What do we need? Okay, what's not working? Okay, that means what do we need? Okay, that always brought us to mentorship. Hook up with the mentor who could help us fill that gap, who could teach us what we needed to get back on track and to the next level. So what our mentors always, piece by piece, did for us in these moments was showing us the way, 100% focus. So literally like, okay, it helped us to get distracted from the panic. It's just like, okay, nail down this strategy, apply this strategy, and then you should be good to go. And always reminded us, what's your vision again? Why do you do this? Look where I'm sitting. I just went from the stupid office to outside because it's more nicer to sit outside. I knew why I was doing it. Every time I was like, oh, do we really need to invest again? We invested so much. Every time we were so happy because after investing, somehow this is another example. I got a Spanish class for free because I do YouTube videos about Costa Rica. Someone wanted, you want to promote my Spanish class for free? You want to promote my Spanish class? We pay you commission and then you get the course for free. So guess what I did? I did the course for free. Do you think I did my homework? I didn't. I sucked. I was not committed. I didn't put my skin in the game. And Dirk can confirm this because he is paying for a private coach in town. He has to drive there. He has to sit there, and he does that twice per week, 3 hours total. And he's paying her like, boom, cash. And I'm like, and he said, trust me, because that free stuff doesn't work because the mind needs to put their skin in the game. So that's just a funny example. Still now a successful marketer. Come on, you need to invest in a mentor that can show you something that you need to learn, teaches you how, not get distracted, and then do your stuff, implement it, and get moving. Boom, to the next level. You just need it. It's proven now in 8 years online, you cannot do without a mentor.
Awesome. I love it. I mean, awesome stories, but in general, I can kind of see from my own personal experience, and let me know in the chat, guys, if you can relate, how many of you have been to that point where you're just like, holy crap, and you're so stressed out that you can't necessarily look at the situation logically, right? And I've been there myself where something happens and you get to a point where you're so emotional that you can't kind of use your logical muscle. And that's oftentimes where you'll get to a mentor who doesn't necessarily have any emotion in the game because it's not his business. And all of a sudden, his or her, it'll just kind of be like, oh, well, yeah, this is kind of obvious. Go this path and you'll be fine. But because you're so emotional, because you're so stressed, because you're so panicked, you don't see the options and you don't see the possibilities that someone else with an outside perspective has. So I've been there, absolutely. And thank you for all the value that you bring always. And this has been awesome, guys. Let us know in the chat box, have you guys gotten value out of this? Tell us value if you guys have gotten value. Give us a quick thanks in the chat box to all of our top earning superstars here. We're not quite done yet, but I still want to get a gauge. And in closing, guys, let's just go around the room real quick, minute or two each. What is one thing that you would share with all of our various participants if they want to make, the end of 2021 and then 2022 their absolute best year, if they want to break through, if they want to get to the next level, if they want to set themselves up to not only survive, but also live an amazing lifestyle like all of you guys do? What's one thing that they should focus on doing and execute upon here? And we can start with you, Muriel.
Okay, awesome. Of course, I could say 100 things, but this is my most favorite one. Make a decision based on your vision and never based on your fear. Boom.
Awesome. I love it. I can't say it any better. That's kind of what we talked about, faith versus fear, right? Make a decision based on your faith. So awesome. Thank you, Muriel. And we'll go with Jason next. What would you say, my friend?
All right. Well, so it's going to sound kind of crass, and well, not crass, I should say, it's going to sound cliche, but if I can have the opportunity to also emphasize it, I would just simply say set yourself up for success, which, I know that coming from the age-long sales guy, that's like very, very cliche and basic, but really that's what you need to do. If we're talking about the new year, it's kind of like this whole thing about New Year's resolutions. For me, your New Year's resolution should not begin on New Year. It's supposed to be resolved. It's resolution. It should begin at the end of the year. You know what I mean? That way you're rolling into it, riding into momentum. So if you have the time, as it applies to this conversation, if you have the opportunity to get in on something good, and especially with regards to mentorship, then in my opinion, if I may be so bold, you're absolutely kidding yourself and foolish and doing yourself and the ones you love a disservice if you don't hop on that train right now. Do whatever you got to do to establish that right now. That way you're riding into it with momentum on New Year, as opposed to starting from ground zero. So if you want 2022 to be your best year, start building it right now. Connect with a mentor, find one, pay whatever it costs, and ride that train, because once you're on that train, it's going to be a heck of a ride, but it's going to be a lot of fun too.
Awesome. Love it, man. Thank you. And Dirk, we'll go ahead and wrap up with you, my friend. What's one thing that someone should focus on right now to make 2022, the end of 2021, their best year ever?
Well, they both said, but if you think of it, what you're doing right now, is that bringing you to where you want to go? And if their answer is no,
yep.
Mentorship is the fast train, the fastest way to get there. Try to figure things out. Why didn't you figure it out until now? I mean, everything is available on YouTube, but why didn't you? Why don't you have success already? The success that you're looking for. So clearly that doesn't work. And I talk about experience that did not work for me. So we make decisions of where do we want to go, and not, I mean, if it's on the, it's just it's just money, and you need to move it. If that's the case, it's the fear that is holding you back. That is, in my eyes, ridiculous. I mean, what good does it do to be on the bank? Because then you think you have something to fall back on. You don't need that. There's always a way. There's always ask units. I always say to Muriel, hey, whatever happens, looking back, the universe always provided. If you believe in that thing, we never got into a situation that we live on the street, and the thing is that there was always a solution or temporarily things. So knowing that, I can put that there, and then mentorship, guidance. Somebody tells you, okay, now do this, now do that, because what you said. If you are in a situation, it can be cloudy. Yep. And it's so helpful, so beneficial. If somebody next to you say, hey, hello, wake up, do this, do that. And then you see these clouds starting to move on, and it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And either you move on with the mentor or you find the next one. But to get started, mentorship, definitely. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. And with that said, I can't say it any better, so I'm not going to try. The fact that it's, if you're not getting where you're trying to go right now, you have to change directions. That's all I'll emphasize. So with that said, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jason. Everyone, give a quick round of applause. Give a quick thank you in the chat box. Give a quick #value in the chat box. If you guys got a ton of value, Jason, so thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate everything you do. Dirk, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate everything you do. And Muriel, thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate all of you guys. And with